This is WCNC, NBC Charlotte Morning News.
Charlotte's heat wave continues, and get ready, we could break another record today. So when is it going to finally cool down? Larry's got that answer.
Former Mayor Patrick Cannon back in the news this morning. What was just released from his corruption scandal?
Plus, breaking ground where Google Fiber started the construction process right now at 6:30. Good morning, I'm Ben Thompson.
And I'm Anjanette Flowers. I'm glad you're waking up with us. You know, for the last 2 days in a row, we've seen record heat in the Queen City, and you can certainly feel it as soon as you step outside. So when will we see relief? The man with the answer. He's standing by in the First One Storm Center. Larry, enough already. Come on.
I keep saying that. It hasn't happened yet. Yeah. It's a right guard alert. Yeah, the sweat factor is on a 1 to 10 scale, up about 10 again today. No rain or storms here. They're all tracking across Kentucky. Not much of a chance today as we check your headlines. Record high 100 degrees on this day in history. Better rain chance by Friday afternoon. Hot weather lasts right into next week. Let's check it out. Hour by hour, we take you right into the afternoon. Check out these temperatures. Mid-90s between about 1 and 5 this afternoon. We could touch that 98-degree mark for high temperature. Even around 9 o'clock this evening, temperatures will be in the mid-80s with light winds out there. Record 100, maybe not get there, but it'll feel like 100 because the heat index will be increased because of the higher humidity today, Ben.
All right, well, during this record-breaking heat, there's perhaps nothing worse than your AC going out at your house. So how do you keep cool if that indeed happens? NBC Charlotte's Rachel Roller joins us now live with some advice to keep cool and also keep costs down. Rachel.
Ben, I'll never forget the time my AC unit broke. Horrifying. However, we're told the rule of thumb is the 20-degree difference. But that means if it's 100 degrees out, you're supposed to keep your thermostat set at 80, which is still pretty hot. But it's going to get a lot hotter if that AC unit breaks.
The owner of Air Care Heating and Cooling says the phone hasn't stopped ringing.
You know we're busy if the owner's out doing calls.
On Tuesday, the company had about 30 calls. When it gets this hot, we're told one of the biggest problems is the capacitor. They're similar to the batteries on a car. They can overheat, swell, and shut off. While some problems are unavoidable, experts have this advice.
You can save yourself hundreds, even thousands of dollars by just keeping everything cleaned up.
Don't shut the AC off when you leave for the day. Instead, change the temperature to 80 degrees.
And Duke Energy tells us that 2% change makes about 5% difference on your power bill. And if your AC unit does break, be sure you do your research before hiring someone to fix it to make sure you don't get scammed. They say you can check with friends or check the Better Business Bureau's website to make sure there's no company complaints. We're live in Charlotte. Rachel Roller, NBC Charlotte.
The only thing worse than being hot in your house is being hot in your house and scammed at the same time. All right, Rachel, thank you for that. We appreciate it.
All right, you know, so we may be dealing with the heat, but at least we're not dealing with this.
Yeah, check out this video from overnight. Parts of Wyoming and Nebraska battered with inches of golf ball sized hail. It covered roads, it covered damaged cars as well. There were a few reports of even funnel clouds there in the area. Let's go ahead and check local traffic right now with Brooke. She's standing by with a water main break that's been causing problems just about all morning long, right?
That's right. It's going to continue to cause problems, too. We also have a disabled vehicle that's working. That is on Boyer Street right at Wilkinson Boulevard. Not seeing any significant delays with that. That's the good news. If you're coming in from Cornelius, Huntersville, no delays for you there. Moving around 64 miles an hour along I-77. Looks good out of Kannapolis and Concord as well. And you did mention that water main break, so I want to say that is in the Myers Park area on Queens Road, so watch out for that. They do have crews out redirecting traffic. That's the good news for you there. 77 at Trade Street, looking good, but you can see that traffic definitely starting to build up out there. I'll let you know if any more problems pop up right here and on Twitter at WCNC Traffic. Angie?
Brooke, thank you. Time now 6:35. We want to get to a developing story out of Rowan County. There are 3 confirmed cases of MRSA at the Daimler truck manufacturing plant in the town of Cleveland. NBC Charlotte's Richard Vane joins us live this morning to explain exactly what MRSA is. But another question this morning, Richard, is the plant open?
Yeah, Angie, we can tell you that basically the plant is open. We've actually spoken to a couple people who have gone to work and come out of work as their shift have changed. We just spoke to the mayor who says this plant is vital for this community, and that's why it's important to know exactly what they're up against with MRSA. With concerns at Mercer at the Daimler plant, we want to answer some of your basic concerns. Here's some information. It's a type of staph bacteria resistant to several antibiotics. It can be passed through direct contact with an infected wound or by sharing personal items like towels or razors. MRSA can cause bloodstream infections, pneumonia, and in some cases, even death. Your best protection against MRSA is to wash your hands frequently. Also, make sure to clean and cover any cuts and breaks in the skin to minimize exposure.
If you've got somebody that has MRSA and they come into contact with the surface right before you come into contact with it with your open area, then that transmission can take place.
Now, it's important to note, for its part, Daimler says that it is sanitizing the entire factory, making sure that its employees are safe, which they say is its highest obligation to the community. And we can also tell you that employees we spoke with said that they haven't gotten that email. Some said they have, but one person says he has not gotten that email as of yet to alert him as to what's going on here. As far as the mayor is concerned, he says it's important that this plant continues to be up and running because it affects this whole community of about 1,300 folks. We're in Rowan County. This is Richard Devane, NBC Charlotte.
All right, Richard, thank you. And we will continue to cover this story for you throughout the day. We'll bring you any updates as they happen throughout the morning as well on our website, WCNC.com, and right here on NBC Charlotte News at noon.
Time now 6:37, and construction for Google Fiber is officially underway in the Queen City. They started in the Highland Creek neighborhood in northeast Charlotte. According to the Charlotte Observer, contractors will start by digging to find existing utilities and then put in huts that will serve as an important part of the network's infrastructure. Now, the fact that the work has started in Highland Creek does not necessarily mean that that community will be the first served by Google Fiber.
Well, some new developments this morning in the Patrick Cannon corruption scandal. A federal judge has ordered the release of some of the documents that were used to sentence the former Charlotte mayor. In fact, he will allow the public to view them. Last year, Patrick Cannon was sentenced to 44 months in prison for accepting more than $50,000 in bribes from undercover FBI agents. He entered a federal prison in November. And by the way, this is the second time recently the same judge has waived a long-standing rule that keeps sentencing memos secret. He also unsealed the memo for former CIA Director David Petraeus.
Charlotte-Mecklenburg police are working this morning to try to figure out who stole the information of 20 of their officers' credit cards. They're all compromised at a Charlotte gas station. The department says thieves used a skimmer, as it's called, to get all that card information. The data was then sold and then used for gas purchases all across the country. CMPD has now canceled all of those cards. Well, with the summer concert season now underway, a big warning from CMPD detectives this morning about fake tickets. They've been getting a lot of complaints recently about counterfeit ones popping up on Craigslist and other internet sites. Police remind you that in order to be completely sure that your ticket is a real one, you should get it from an authorized dealer only. Newly named CMPD Chief Kerr Putney is talking about the new job, and NBC Charlotte the first to sit down with him. He takes over a very interesting time for the department and the city. Next month, Officer Randall Carrick will go on trial for manslaughter for killing an unarmed African-American man. Police are expecting protesters to come in from out of town to join those who are here. Putney says, though, his department is ready.
And that's the MO. Have we heard anything specific to Charlotte? Not quite yet, but we're still on the lookout, and we're preparing as if we're going to fit the mold of other cities as far as people coming from the outside causing issues.
He says his department will facilitate people who want to protest, but they will make sure people know legal behavior is the only kind of behavior that's going to be tolerated.
All right, time now just about 6:40. I want to check back in with Larry. We continue to talk about this heat. So the last couple of days we've seen record-breaking temperatures, right?
Yeah.
What if we were to approach a record today? What are we looking at if we get to that?
We got to 100. You know, I say it's time to bring back the ice bucket challenge.
That's a good point.
Would you do it? I mean,
again?
Yeah.
Are you and Ben doing this again to me, putting me on the spot?
Did he say that too?
Ben, no, he did it to me last time around, and now you're doing it this time.
Do it.
Well, I think everybody should do it. When you take a look at the temperatures, even the morning, we're talking about mid and even upper 80s in the morning time as we head towards the afternoon. Hot and certainly more humid today. Around 10 o'clock, we're at 86, low 90s at noon, between 2 and 4, mid 90s. I'm not sure we'll get to 100, but it will feel that way with a higher humidity. And something to think about when you head out. It's going to be hot, and we'll throw a little bit of haze in there as well. Problems developing on the streets this morning. Here's Brooke.
And we do have a couple of problem spots working out there right now. We do have an accident that just popped up. This is I-85 northbound at the Brookshire Boulevard. Not seeing any significant delays with that. A little bit of a slowdown there, but not causing any significant issues. We still have that water main break. This is our big problem. Wellesley Avenue at Queens Road. You can use Selwyn to get around that. Crews are on the scene working to reroute traffic out there. And here's a live look. I-77 just to the north of I-85, and you can see traffic moving smoothly out there this morning. In fact, those interstates are still in pretty good shape. Of course, I'll let you know if anything changes right here and on Twitter at WCNC Traffic. Ben?
Time now, 6:41, coming up on NBC Charlotte. The woman at the center of a race identity scandal speaking out. What she had to say about her controversial transformation.
There's now a dozen Republicans running for president, and the newest addition to the race is about to shake things up.
Plus, as you head out the door, no time to wait in line for coffee this morning? Well, no problem. There is now a new way to have your Starbucks order ready and waiting for you. 6:45 now, and a former NAACP chapter president at the center of a race scandal says that she identifies as black. Rachel Dolezal spoke out in an exclusive interview with NBC News. Her parents say she was born white and has been pretending to be black, and many have criticized her appearance as black-face performance. Dolezal says she's identified as black since she was a kid, even coloring herself in drawings with brown crayons instead of peach. She compared her story to the recent transformation of Caitlyn Jenner from Bruce Jenner.
I'm not white. And some people I feel like are still sort of, feeling their way through it and haven't reached conclusions yet. I think it's very different in that sense to Bruce versus Caitlyn, in that that was a personal choice. This is not a personal choice right now to bring up this conversation about my identity.
Dolezal stepped down from her post in Spokane, Washington Monday, saying it was in the best interest of the NAACP. The national president of the group issued a statement shortly after, urging people to focus on the real work of that organization. Much more of that exclusive interview coming up on the Today Show in about 14 minutes.
A balcony collapses, killing 6 people and seriously injuring 7 others. It happened during a 21st birthday party at an apartment building near the UC Berkeley campus Tuesday. 5 of the people who died were Irish students on work-study visas for the summer. Building inspectors are telling folks who live in that building not to use their balconies until they are checked for safety. Day 12 and still no sign of the 2 men who escaped from a New York prison. The manhunt has gone cold, and officials say they could be anywhere. Officers near the Canadian border are stopping and searching vehicles for any signs of David Sweat and Richard Matt, who used prison tools to make their way out of the maximum security facility.
In Decision 2016, we are out on the campaign trail today with some of the new candidates. Jeb Bush made his late night debut, and Donald Trump already shaking things up in the world of presidential politics.
Let's check in now with Tracy Potts live in Washington to see what we can expect today. Tracy, good morning.
Hey, Ben and Angie, good morning. Yeah, Trump's already calling himself the jobs president. Jeb Bush is promising he can grow the economy and cut your taxes and maybe get a few laughs, too.
And having spirited debates with my fellow Republicans about how to solve them.
You don't want to mess with little Jebby, because when it comes to debating, he's a master.
He's a master debater.
After making his Tonight Show debut as a candidate, Jeb Bush takes his message to Iowa today. He's promising growth with lower taxes.
It can be done because it happened in Florida.
The former governor is going after his weak spot, the party's conservative base.
People knew that I was a conservative when I started and when I ended.
Bush is believed to have $100 million in his war chest, a drop in the bucket compared to Donald Trump's $9 billion fortune.
I'm really rich.
In his first day, Trump managed to insult Latinos, a key voting bloc for Republicans, promising to build a wall between the U.S. and Mexico.
They're bringing drugs, they're bringing crime, they're rapists, and some, I assume, are good people.
Meantime, it's back to South Carolina today for Hillary Clinton.
There's nobody that's going to beat her except Donald Trump. Good luck, everybody.
And now the Democrats reacting to Trump jumping into the race, issuing a sort of a tongue-in-cheek statement saying that they look forward to his ideas. They think he will add much seriousness to the campaign trail. Ben and Angie.
You never know what's going to come out of his mouth, right?
No, you don't.
All right, Tracy, thank you. We know faulty Takata airbags are prompting even more recalls. Toyota is adding another 1.5 million vehicles to the list. The recalled cars are older models ranging from model years 2003 to 2007. 7 deaths and more than 100 injuries are connected to the airbags that can explode with too much force. Honda is also adding more than 1 million of its popular Accords and Civics to the Takata airbag recall list. It includes Civics from the 2001 to 2005 model years and Accords from the 2003 to 2007 model years. Overall, the Takata airbag inflator recall covers driver and passenger airbags in more than 33 million cars and trucks made by 11 automakers.
Well, as you run out the door, it is finally here. Anyone with an iPhone and a Starbucks mobile app can order their favorite drinks right from their phone. How about that? Mobile ordering already being offered in the Pacific Northwest, but this launch spreads mobile ordering to 21 states now, including the Carolinas. A quick test shows 5 uptown Charlotte Starbucks, including ones near Trade and Tryon and the Duke Energy Center, are offering those mobile ordering. By the way, Droid users, sorry. It doesn't come to your phones quite yet.
All right. Let's check in with Brooke to see how your morning commute is shaping up as we get to that 7 a.m. hour. I know things are starting to probably get busy, I would imagine, Brooke.
It is getting busier on those interstates. Traffic building out there, and we do have a couple of problem spots. Looks like we do have a disabled vehicle here being cleared up. This is 77 at Arrowwood Road heading southbound. So should be in the clearing phases in that area. We also have an accident reported North Hoskins and Beatties Ford Road. This is causing some slight delays. No significant delays with that. That's the good news there. And we have I-85 at the off-ramp there for Brookshire Boulevard. No significant delays with that one either. But our bigger problem spot, keeping an eye on still, that Wellesley Avenue at Queens Road water main break, a pretty big water main break there. You can use Selwyn Avenue to get around that. You're going to need to roll down the windows, crank up the AC in the car, and I'm not even sure that's going to help, Larry.
Well, you could go here, and if you take a trip up to the high country up near Grandfather Mountain, temperatures are in the 60s up there this morning. What a nice view. That's such a cool shot. A little bit cooler temperatures live from up there. As you can see, a nice view of the lake as the sun is rising in the high country. I think somebody out there on the pier fishing. Good place to be. And to cool down, no rain or storms out there in our area. Slight chance later on today where they are getting unneeded rain, unnecessary rain. This is Tropical Depression Bill affecting Dallas, and there's another storm system independent of this that's stretching all the way from, say, around Galveston to Corpus Christi. More rain and storms in those areas. And a band of showers tracking across the midsection of the country right into the Ohio Valley. As we check our air quality forecast, we're in that moderate category, so no worries about that. I think the bigger problems occur later in the summertime. We take a look at the system right north of us. That frontal boundary more or less washes out. It doesn't backdoor into us like they do sometimes. So the heat's on again today. We'll keep most of the shower activity across the Ohio Valley, the midsection of the country. Maybe a couple of pop-up thunderstorms we take into Friday. You can see better coverage of storms as we get into Friday and early on Saturday. Today in the mountains, high temperatures right around 83 at Boone, 84 at Jefferson. They could see a couple of storms there this afternoon. Low to mid 90s across the foothills, and no break for the temperatures in our part of the world. About 100 at Chester, 96 at Lincoln, upper 90s here in the Charlotte metro area, and almost a duplicate of that when you go east of here. And one of the differences when you get towards Rockingham and Chesterfield and those areas, and Wadesboro, hot and humid with the heat index, it'll feel like about 101 to 105 degrees. Here we go into the weekend. 98 today, more of the same tomorrow. 40% coverage of showers and storms on Friday into Saturday, and no relief from the heat over the upcoming weekend. We'll be in the mid-90s, and yes, even Monday and Tuesday of next week, highs both days right around 95, 96.
So you're saying all the heat of the past few days plus some humidity?
Oh, yeah. I know.
Okay.
I still say the ice bucket challenge is the thing.
That's actually not a bad idea. That's one of your better ideas recently, actually.
Thank you.
All right, still to come here on NBC Charlotte. The day finally here, how you can actually get your hands on an Apple Watch.
Plus, a new health challenge is sweeping the internet, but some say it's actually doing more harm than good.
Good morning, everyone. Straight ahead on today, millions of people from Texas to Ohio on high alert this morning because of Tropical Storm Bill. That storm is expected to bring even more rain today, and Al is covering it all from Texas. Also ahead, the federal investigation into possible high-tech cheating by the St. Louis Cardinals. Did some employees hack into a rival team's computers? Bob Costas will weigh in. And then my interview with Rachel Dolezal, the former NAACP leader who sparked a national debate on race. She talks more about how she identifies, her appearance and any changes to it, and her relationship with her parents. We've got all that. Plus, Matt has some big surprises in store for an elementary school principal who wanted to help others with one selfless act. So when we get started on a Wednesday morning, right here on Today.
And time now for a look at some of today's other top stories.
We're here in Cleveland in Rowan County outside of the Daimler plant. There have been 3 confirmed cases of MRSA here at the plant. Now, for its part, the state health department says that there's no reason to be overly concerned, and Daimler has said that it has already gone about the process of sanitizing this factory and alerting all of its workers. We're in Cleveland. This is Richard Devane, NBC Charlotte.
The temperatures are expected to head back into the upper 90s again today, and this heat isn't only taking a toll on our bodies, but also our appliances and our vehicles. So it's fueling business for a lot of auto mechanics and AC repair companies. Experts say to monitor the coolant levels on your vehicle and crack your windows if you're leaving your car in the hot sun. It's also recommended to keep your thermostat at home around 78 degrees and then move it up to 80 when you leave the house. Duke Energy tells us those 2 degrees can save you 5% on your power bill.
Mecklenburg County leaders have unanimously approved a $1.6 billion budget. This year, Charlotte-Mecklenburg schools will receive an extra $7.9 million this year, but the budget does not include a requested 2% pay raise for school employees. Commissioners also passed a resolution calling for a termination of the I-77 toll lane contract. It's just the latest move in an ongoing battle over those express lanes. Last month, leaders in the town of Cornelius passed a similar resolution. However, the DOT and the governor both say they have no plans to cancel that $650 million project.
According to reports, starting today, you will be able to buy the Apple Watch at the Apple Store, but it's not as simple as just walking in and buying one. You have to go to the website first, make sure they have the one you want in stock, reserve it, and then go pick it up. Reservations start at 8 o'clock this morning. Well, sharing photos with friends on Facebook just got a little easier. Facebook just debuted a new standalone photo sharing app. It allows users to share photos easily with friends who are in those pictures. It's called Moments. It uses facial recognition technology to identify which friends are in a photo, and you can then privately share those pictures with your friends. And if you've been on social media in just the past few days, maybe you've seen something called the Belly Button Challenge. It's supposed to tell you if you have a healthy body, but it's become more of a new form of body shaming. We found hundreds of photos on Twitter and Instagram, all of them showing someone wrapping their arm around their back to see if they can actually touch their belly. Now, those who fail supposedly need to lose weight has been attempted. The challenge clearly favors those who are thin and have flexible arms, but proves absolutely nothing about your health.
That's what it is.
So don't let this.
Arms are not flexible.
It is more about flexibility. I'm embarrassed to admit I tried this about 3 days ago at home, and no, I can't.
Yeah, not even
reach around the back.
I can't do that either.
No.
Maybe
I'm not flexible enough.
Flexibility and
maybe if I grab my arm and like really
this is
pull
the
it.
dumbest challenge, right?
Yeah, this is it. We're all trying it.
Here we are.
And yet we're all doing it on
Joke's
TV
on
for
us.
people to see.
We do have a couple of problem spots on those roads. Let's talk about those. 77 there at South Tryon looking pretty good, but we do have that one accident North Hoskins at Beatty's Ford Road. The right turn lane there is blocked, not causing significant delays. And just don't forget about that water main break on Wesleyan Avenue. Selwyn is your alternate there.
The innies and outies of the weather, hot, 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 right into the weekend.
All right, thanks for
Wraps
waking
it
up
up.
with us.
Today's show's next. Have a great day, everybody.